a good ball. The flag stays down. Heaney! Oh!
They scored again! It's Davis again! It's job done now!
Hello, welcome to the Northern Ireland Podcast, Josh.
Good man.
Thank you very much for your time. First thing we're going to do is we like to kind of give away a bit of a prize when it comes to the podcast. So what I've got here
is this a prize?
Is the prize. It's going to be a shirt, which at the moment is a bit boring, but then we're going to add your signature to it to make it amazing.
Even worse. Make a nice tea towel or something for someone.
No, definitely not. So if we stretch this out,
there we go.
Now just to say what I should sign it. So we're going to give this away, and the competition will run until the before the Holland game starts, and then we're going to close the competition then. So to enter, people have to subscribe on our YouTube channel, but what I want you to do is to tell them what do they have to comment with in the comments underneath the video of the podcast.
What do they have to comment then?
What do they have to say to enter?
What do they have to say? The best Northern Irish slang term. Right? And then you just have to decide what the best Northern Irish slang term is.
Right.
Like, what about you, or something like that.
Right,
along those type of lines, yeah.
So the main man has spoken, that's what you have to
The
do.
main man. Those Northern Ireland memes always make me laugh, so the best slang term you've heard.
Best slang term. Right, so obviously we're here in lovely Rotterdam as the tram comes past there. What have you been up to since you got here? When did you arrive?
We arrived in on Sunday, and we've just been training basically. A lot of sort of downtime after meetings and dinner and that type of thing, and getting treatment. So we just managed to take a walk into town and get a couple of coffees, have a look at some shops, and then just trying to fill as much time as we can.
I was going to say, what's it been like? Because you haven't been in Belfast, you've just come from your club straight to here.
Straight to, yeah. Michael likes doing that. Just sort of get away and sort of try and get used to the local custom as you can, because even though some people might not think it's different, you know, the food sort of changes and different environment, not being used to being at the club and stuff. Just trying to make as much use of this time as possible, with trying to make it as familiar as you can. So just came in straight away, and then we're off to Czech Republic again on Saturday.
So you say about going out and getting a cup of coffee. Do you ever get to go out and visit these places, or are they kind of just you see a hotel room?
We do sort of now. Like Michael's pretty good at this. He doesn't really give us a curfew. He sort of lets us rule our own roost. You know what I mean? Without taking the mix. So we're within the hours of but just sort of probably before dinner and after lunch, we've got time to go and roam. But in terms of like major sites, we haven't really been anywhere apart maybe Hungary. We went to visit the Hungary castle and went to see that along the river. And obviously in Lyon we went and seen the vineyard and stuff when the Euros. But in terms of doing that types of stuff, it's hard to get out and go, because you don't want to sort of waste energy leading into the game, but obviously you want to try and take full advantage of being in the country you're in.
And one thing everyone likes to know is what you're watching on Netflix at the minute.
Watching on Netflix, well,
Imagine that's filling your time a lot when you're on the
filling the time a lot, yeah, because obviously at home with the kids it's absolutely manic. But I like how to get away with murder.
Oh, right.
So it sounds a bit skeptic, and I'm not doing any skullduggery, but they're unbelievable, yeah. But it's sort of like it's not a docu-series, but it's quite good. I love it. Me and the wife are into it, so that's what we watch on Netflix.
I find those are good, like the crime.
The crimeology ones are absolutely brilliant. Yeah, obviously I love a bit of sci-fi, a bit of Avengers and that, but a bit of crimeology. That's what I'm into.
Very good. And you say you've been training lots. How have you been finding that? What's it been like in the squad this week?
Yeah, it's been good. The intensity's always good. Obviously it's hard to come in because boys are at different stages. This time I think one of the lads played on Friday night, and then you got lads who play on Saturday and Sunday, and then determined by the minutes will determine really how much you do throughout the week. And sort of having the game on Thursday, sort of short turnaround. So you want to do enough, because we haven't been together that many times off the international level, but you don't want to be too much that you sort of you get burnt out coming sort of the later stages of the game. So it just has to be managed. But the lads are low key, you know, they're low maintenance, and we just do what needs to be done. So just looking forward to the game on Thursday, really.
And speaking of the game on Thursday, if you play, you get to face, you know, some formidable foes at centre back.
Yeah.
What does that make you feel? How do you feel? You know, you've played against like Mats Hummels and that before, so it's not as if it's something new to you.
It's good, you know. I've managed to play against Virgil a few years ago when I was at Kilmarnock and Aberdeen, and he was at Celtic, and it was good games to play in. You know, just very obviously better than a very good defender. He's world class, probably the best defender there is around at the moment, and it's just he's probably good in every department. And what I find is not only is he a good defender, he's a very, very good footballer as well, technical ability and sort of all on the ball. And it's just trying to put yourself up against that caliber of player to see, just to see how far, if you can at any level, in any stage, like make them be uncomfortable in the game, and just trying to do your best, obviously for Northern Ireland to win the game. But just playing against that caliber of player, I think, sort of brings out your better sides here. You know, you always hear that cliche, you know, you play with better players, it makes you a better person. So trying to play at the highest level as you possibly can against the best possible players is always a good thing for your own career, yeah.
And how are the players feeling about this game in terms of, it feels like now we're hitting the brink of make or break almost, but you still obviously got 3 games to go. Technically it's a bit of a weird situation.
It is, it's sort of tough because we always said this, like we wanted to break it into sort of 2 groups, or try and get 12 points out of the first 4 games. And we managed to do that, and then sort of go game by game with the bigger nations, as they're called. So we all knew it was going to be tough. The caliber of player that they have, and sort of the level that they're playing at, is hard to be rivaled. You know, it's very, very hard to compete with. But it's a challenge that we have rose to before. We've shown that, and many a times that we can compete. It's just about trying to capitalise on our chances and trying to do that. We're just looking forward to it, really. You know, these are the nights that you want to live for. I know, seeing it going back, you know, how unbelievable would it be to say that we managed to get results against Germany and Holland to go to Euro 2020. It's what everyone wants. It's what we've all been dreaming of, you know, and it's the results that we've been longing for and we want. And we just didn't want it to be, we managed to do well the first 4 games, and the second 4 games have come along and it's just, we're playing against Germany and Holland, it's just a throwaway. No, that's not the case for us. We fully believe that we can win the games. Do we know it's going to be tough? 100%. It's probably the best football over the 4 games we're probably going to have to play to get to the end goal, but it's something we know that we can fully do.
And now looking back even further than Germany, is that 4 years ago today, so being Tuesday, people could be listening to this Wednesday or the game on Thursday, yeah. But today being Tuesday, 4 years since we qualified for the last Euro, 2016. Obviously you scored. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the footage today, but what are your memories of that night, and how, you know, obviously having that sort of thing now ahead of Holland?
It's probably the best night of my football career, because it was just a mad thing. It was like literally the way it planned out was, the way it ended up playing out was how I dreamed of it. Do you know what I mean? It was so surreal. To be told I was playing, and then I was just like, you just have to perform. You just have to perform. You can't give the ball away. You can't miss. You can't do anything. You've got to have the best game you've ever had in your life. And then got into the game and managed to get a good couple of first touches, and that all sort of settles your nerves. And then it was in the game, and I was thinking, we are right on top of this game. And then Davo scores, and then the momentum changes, and then obviously Windsor was absolutely rocking. And then the goal, and they managed to score, and it was euphoric. It was like an out-of-body experience. It was like, I couldn't believe it, because it was like, oh my God, I've actually just scored. A first international goal obviously is a big thing. And then coming to terms with it, and then Davo scored again, and then after the game, and then just sitting in the changing room thinking, like, we've actually qualified for the Euros, like, we've actually done it. It was, honestly, it still makes me smile now. It was absolutely brilliant. And to have those nights, that's what, like, is so magic about this football. Like, being here is like those type of nights are well achievable again. You know, it's not out of our realm to think that we can go on and do that again. We are a competitive side, and to have those memories, I'll be able to cherish forever, because no one will be able to take that away from me, and hopefully I can go on to make new ones now and leading into more tournaments.
And what I love about that night is, firstly, the famous scene of your celebration. Yeah. And what I love is how you instantly, I think it's like if you knew instantly you're heading for Michael O'Neill as soon as that ball goes in. What was the feeling, the emotion behind all that?
I was nervous that week, because after the Romania game, as much as Laughs grabbed the last minute winner, equaliser, Hungary. Was it Hungary at home? Hungary at home. Laughs scored in the last minute. And as much as it was about, we've managed to get a point, it was straight on to Laughs suspended. Who's going to lead the line? And then I remember leading up to the game, it was going in week by week. There was journalists were sort of tracking my progress when I was at Kilmarnock and Boise's when he was I think Bushy was at Ross County then, or just gone to Burton. I wasn't too sure. No, I think he was at Ross County. Yeah, Ross County. And Griggsy was doing what he was doing at Wigan. And it was like, who's going to play? And then leading into the game, Michael didn't say nothing. And then I remember he just pulled me. I think it was the day before the game. He said, look, you're just ready to play. He said, I just trust you to do what you need to do. He said, you don't need to prove to anybody. Just go and play how I know you can play. And I was like, right, okay. And then I was like, I can't let him down now. I was like, oh my goodness, he's picked me to play in this team. He can't let me down. I was like, the lads are used to laugh scoring every game. I can't let them down. And I was like, I can't let myself down. I can't look a fool on, like, imagine like we didn't qualify and one of the major question points was like, there was no one to lead the line. Every time the ball went forward, it came back. And I was like, I can't have one of those nights. So I remember going to bed the night before and I was praying like mad. I was like, please, God, just let me have the best game of my life here. Just let me score something. Let us win 1-0. I don't care. But please don't let me play bad. And then the day of the game, I was like, in the morning, I was fine. It was okay, not a problem. Went to training, done set pieces. I was fine, not a problem. And I don't sleep. Like most of the lads sleep in the afternoon. So I remember the lads had gone to bed and I was just sitting there with my own thoughts. So I was like, oh my goodness, what is going on here? So I just put my trackie on and took a walk down Cultraw, down by the sea. Just cleared my head, came back, had pre-match, got on the coach. And then I remember in the tunnel, the nerves went. It was just sort of the game time was happening. And then I remember the nerves and excitement, and I wasn't nervous to play in the game or afraid to play the game. It was just the apprehension of doing well. It was more nerves of just do it well, just don't try and do too much, just try and do as much as you can. And then thank God that night will be ever etched in our memories because it was brilliant. And I always remember after the game, the scenes happened after the game. It was absolutely madness. We went in the dressing room and Michael sort of said his bit, and then there was silence for about 5 minutes. Nobody spoke. Everyone just sat, and I think everyone had just taken in what we had just achieved. It was just unbelievable. And then went out, done the encore, and then came back in, and then that's where that picture came from, with the pizzas on the bed and the champagne. I don't know what photographer was there, but there was pizzas on the roof, and it was everywhere, and it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. It was unbelievable. Really, very good night.
That was your first international goal, and ever since then, your career for Northern Ireland has obviously just gone up and up and up.
Yeah, it's got, to be fair, yeah, it's always wanted to be progressed. You know, I've always wanted to be able to maintain the respect of, obviously, the coaching staff for picking you, but the big one for me is the players that you're playing with. I don't want them to ever think he's playing five-a-side, small-sided games in training. It's like, me, Josh is on my team, or if we're playing a game away, like on Thursday, if I get picked and the boys are like, Josh is in the team, you know, we might have to do more running. I was like, no, I want the respect of the players that I'm playing with, and just probably a bit more than maybe the coaching staff and the backroom staff, because with technology now, with Y-Scout and video analysis, the coaches already know basically what you can do and what you can bring to the team, but 9 times out of 10 the players don't watch that stuff. They just see what they see in training. So it was important for me when I first came into the squad just to work every day like I was just a newbie, and I've just kept that thought process, even though people would say I'm a senior pro, getting on now a bit, and I've got a bit more caps, but when I come away I sort of take the aspect of I'm still new to the squad. You can't really take for granted playing for your country. So that's sort of it. But come away with those memories, like McAuley and Jamie Ward still say they only ever talk about that night because I was crying. They're like, you were crying in the game. I seen you crying. You were crying. What were you crying for? I get stick for that. Ollie still says to me, I can't believe you ran past me with the assist. And then just little things in the celebration and that, when you see the first goal, the celebration when Davo scores and we're on him to get him, he's ripping us off us and he's like wanting the glory for himself. So we do have a little bit of banter, and we have great fond memories about that, and every rightly so, because we were complete underdogs in that group and we managed to storm away with it to top of the group, 21 points, and it was unbelievable. And then we managed to take that form into the Euros. Unfortunately, we got beat the first game against Poland, but after that, we done unbelievable.
And just to get towards the end of our time here, I want to talk obviously about Gareth McAuley.
Oh yeah.
Obviously announced his retirement recently, and when we did the podcast with him, he was very, very kind to yourself and said a bit about how your friendship and all that. How much are you going to miss having Gareth around for international trips?
Yeah, very much so. I think people who know people who know me and people who know G know that we are very, very close. I miss him here now. I tell him all the time, I'm texting him, I'm like, I can't believe you're gone. I'm here on my own, you know what I mean? I'm very good friends with Niall and Sturdy Dallas and Davo and Laughs and that, but me and G were proper tight. We still are tight. And just since the very first time, I'll tell you a story, the very first time I came into the squad was South America away. And I was still, where was I? I was at Cardiff then. I think I was still like a YT, and it was one of the trips before. I think it was Nigel Worthington's trip where none of the senior players went, but G ended up going, and I was, So I was with an old girlfriend at the time, but I didn't have no credit on my phone, and we were in South America, so I was like, who can I latch on to? So me and G managed to get quite tight. And I kept saying to him, G, can I borrow your phone? Can I borrow your phone, please? He was like, what are you using it for? And I was like, look, it's nothing major. I just need to borrow it. And then I remember using it, and then after the trip, he phoned me. He was like, you racked up my phone bill. It cost me an absolute fortune. And I was like, well, how much is it? How much is it? And he remember me telling me, and I was like, I can't pay that back. I can't pay that back. And ever since then, we've been pretty tight. And for me, our relationship's grown from like meeting like that where we first became mates. And we would text every so often, and like we would always be sharing banter and that type of stuff. And then he sort of moved to being like my big brother, where it's coming away here and all those types of things, and keep me in check, ask me what I'm doing, sort of leading me down the straight and narrow, and making sure I'm all right. To sort of like, people think it's just really, really funny to say, like to me, like a father figure. Do you know what I mean? He's probably one or two or three proper positive male role models that I have, do you know what I mean, coming from the background that I had. I didn't have a dad growing up, and just someone who I've been able to meet, who I can relate to and just go forward, do you know what I mean. And he's honest to me, you know what I mean. He doesn't blow smoke up my backside or doesn't give me that. He tells me when I ask him questions, he'll give me the honest answer, whether he knows I'm going to like it or not. And I speak to him on a daily basis, and it's not just about football. I'll talk to him about life. When Mrs. told me she was pregnant with my kids, I was on to him because he'd already had kids. I was like, gee, look, I need advice. So, you know, to me, he's family. He'll always be family, and I'll always hold him in the highest regard, and I wouldn't let anyone talk bad about him in front of me. So I'm going to miss having him about, but thankfully, thank God that it's not just football. We have a friendship, so I'll be able to see him outside, but he is a massive loss to this, because I think, you know, obviously people see the glitz and the glam of football, you know, and everyone, you know, like coming through everyone has a dream of going to an academy, coming through the academy, being the superstar, being this, being that. But G done it the hard way, do you know what I mean? He ended up at Lincoln, and then he went to Ipswich, Leicester, West Brom, and he finished at Rangers. And his career's never really had a downward spiral. He's still playing at 37, 38. And it's a pure dream, you know. Kids should be looking up to him, and he should be telling people, you know, and like sort of his journey, because there's not many people that would be able to replicate what he's been able to do, coming from where he is to playing in the Premier League. So I'm proud to be able to know him. What he's achieved has been brilliant, and he deserves all the plaudits he gets.
That was some very nice words.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Yeah, no, it is. I'm an honest person. People say I'm too emotional at times, but I can't say a bad word about him. I love him to bits, and I always will, and I'll always tell people how I feel about him, and that's basically how it's ever been. So hopefully we've got another 20 years or so of friendship, because he is quite older than me, so maybe 10 to 15 we'll give him. So I got there. So, but yeah, you know, I love him to bits, and I always will, and we'll always be close.
One thing he did tell me to ask you though is that his car needs wash.
I can't believe that he said this. It was his idea to wash his car. I just helped him. He gets on like I wanted to wash his car, like I'm the valet man. I really don't understand that. He's just a madman. He can't help but say that. His sense of humour is very dry at the best of times, so I know what you're talking about. But it was his idea.
It's his idea.
He can't wash dishes, mate. So never mind his car. So I had to help him out at some stage. Do you know what I mean? So that's the way it was.
But finally, one of the questions we always like to ask on the podcast: his favourite chippy in Northern Ireland, if you have one, obviously.
Donny's chippy.
There we go, straight.
Bloomfield Estate.
So,
Unbelievable. Unbelievable chippy.
what are you ordering?
What am I ordering? Goujon's supper. With curry sauce. Oh,
Curry sauce.
it's out of this world. I do what the funny thing about it is the chippy was out the back of my nans and I used to blast the ball every time up against the side of the fish and chip shop and he used to come out and shout at me and I never went away and the only way he got me away, Donny, was give me a free chip. So he left. So I know what I was doing, yeah. But Donny's in Bloomfield Estate, if you're ever there or you're going past, stop in the Donny's. It's unbelievable.
And now you're going to give him a good shout out there.
Shout out, yeah, it's been good, yeah. I'm not too sure if he's still, time goes by so fast, but I'm not too sure if he's the owner now or if it's changed names, but it's at the Bloomfield shop. I remember being there before, but it's definitely Donny's. It's unbelievable, guys.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time. That was absolutely brilliant.
No problem at all, mate, anytime.
Good luck with the game on Thursday.
Thank you.
We'll have to have you on again to do a much longer one than this.
Yeah, no problem at all. Hey, my house is not like G's, so you'll be in something like Harry Potter. We'll be like Harry Potter or something, so that's the way it'll be.
Cheers, mate.
Nice one, no problem. Top man, thank you.
Armstrong! Northern Ireland has scored through Jerry Armstrong.
It's a good ball. The flag stays down. Heaney! Oh!
They scored again! It's Davis again! It's job done now.